Hey team, welcome back to my channel and to my first video of 2022, which, as you can tell from the title, is going to be another sketchbook tour. The infamous YouTube algorithm seems to really like these, which is great because I like making them, and from my community poll, I can tell that you guys really like watching them. Before we get into it though, if you're new here, my name is Nancy, and I like to make art and talk about making art, and everyone in my life is sick of it, so now I make YouTube videos. If you're into speed draws, tutorials, art challenges, and all that other good stuff, consider subscribing, but otherwise, let's get into it. I also love making these kinds of videos because you don't have to see my face, which just makes it more pleasant for me to edit, if I'm being honest. Before I forget, and because I know someone is going to ask, all of my stickers are from Redbubble, front and back, except for this girl here, who is from Lord Griss's Patreon, and this Mimikyu, who is from an art cosplay gaming convention that I went to a few years ago, and I got it from an artist whose Instagram handle is Rennie Roomba. Both of these people's accounts will be linked in the description box for anyone curious, but that's where I got my stickers from. Anyhow, this is the sketchbook I finished most recently. It is a Stillman and Byrne Zeta series sketchbook. This was my first time using a sketchbook from this company, and the only reason I picked it up was because I heard it was a great mixed media sketchbook, which I can 100,000% confirm that it is. I really enjoyed using it, but I felt like it was almost wasted with the way that I normally use my sketchbooks, which is as a messy kind of planning book. So I would definitely buy this sketchbook again, but for more finished pieces, which seems counterintuitive to what a sketchbook is supposed to be, but I guess like for more gouache marker studies kinds of things that would use the paper to its full potential rather than the pencil scribbles that I normally put in my sketchbooks. Though this is the closest I've come to finding a sketchbook that I've enjoyed using as much as my Lana J sketchbook, this one right here, which I do have a sketchbook tool for. It'll be linked in that little eye thing above that you can do on YouTube. This is still my favorite type of sketchbook that I've used to date, just because I've loved the paper. I really enjoyed using it, and I'm really sad that she's not making them anymore. Inside the sketchbook, I always reserve the first page for my sketchbook goals. I don't always strictly adhere to them, but it does help give me some sort of sense of direction when I don't know what I want to draw. So for this one, my two big goals were to work on drawing characters and to work on picking more cohesive color schemes that really set a mood and ambiance. I found that those are the kinds of drawings I love looking at, and I really want to make art that I like looking at, you know? And keeping all that in mind, my first drawing in this sketchbook is some fan art. The big panini really reawakened my anime phase, and I'm currently watching and reading a bunch, including My Hero, and these two are some of my favorite characters. I'm a big fan of the Bakugo and Kirishima dynamic, not just in like a shipping manner or anything like that, but more in the sense of how well their quirks and personalities complement each other. I think it's fun and cool and good writing, and there's just something about the inherent allure of good teamwork that I'm a sucker for. Give me two idiots with opposite personalities but complementary skill sets, and I am hooked. This girl was just a cyberpunk-esque painting I did while on a video call with a friend, trying to get any semblance of human interaction during last year's lockdown. I actually don't think I stated the dates for this sketchbook. You probably saw it on my sketchbook's goals page, but I did start it on the 21st of May last year, which is why I'm referencing last year's lockdowns. Some pose practice. These two turned into a mini Baku Squad digital piece that I did just for fun. This was a redraw of the character I liked in one of my older sketchbooks. This was a planning pencil sketch for a pencil drawing that I did, which I did film the process of in a previous YouTube video about drawing portraits and skin tones. Once again, it will be in that little eye thing above. This is an original character outfit planning sketch drawing thing that I never did anything with. These three are the plans for a mini-series of drawings I did where I put My Hero Academia characters into different anime series. So I did Bakugo in Cowboy Bebop, Deku in Sailor Moon, and Kaminari in Demon Slayer. I think these two were my favorite, which 2 out of 3 favorites isn't like a amazing stat, but just as an aside. I just really loved how they all turned out, and it inspired me to get back into learning digital art, which was excellent because that was part of my art goals for the year. Some post practice with one of my original characters that I introduced in my first sketchbook tour video. I'm still workshopping her armor and vibe and stuff. I did a nose study using Dear Lord Hunter on Instagram, they'll be linked in the description, because I've been trying to work on how I stylize noses in my more cartoon-like artworks. And I noticed that they also do this like little circle thing that I like to do in my little character drawings, and I just wanted to see that the different ways that they stylize their nose and at different angles and stuff like that. This spread was a huge turning point for me because it made me realize how much I adore combining gouache with colored pencil and gel pens. I had used gouache in previous sketchbooks, and I have a YouTube video where I used gouache to make a full-on illustration, but I had always just considered it to be like a fun matte medium that I could use for landscapes when the mood arose. I'd never taken it too seriously. However, now after dabbling in it more and finishing this sketchbook spread, I wanted to do some more gouache stuff and can't wait to do more this year. Like I want to dedicate more time to doing finished gouache illustrations in this kind of manner where I mix it with pencil and gel pen because I'm really happy with the finish on these guys. This is the planning sketch for a Shikamaru painting I did. I love him. He's one of the best characters in Naruto, was a true friend. Sasuke can suck a cactus. I will not be engaging in any discourse in the comments. Thank you. These are the planning sketches I did for the rest of Team Town. I actually really like the way Ino turned out. I tried to mimic the way the animation gets more like monochromatic with like purple accents when she uses like activates her mind jutsu, and I'm pretty happy with the result. Choji was also fun. He looks a little smug in my finished result, and I just think it works. Let me explain. I did this for a TikTok where I was talking about anime characters that I would fight on site. That's all you need to know. Speaking of the inherent allure of great teamwork, this is a planning sketch I did for a Chuya digital piece that I wanted to do and haven't done yet, where the first picture, which is what this planning sketch is for, is what happens to Chuya when he activates corruption and he gets all manic and crazy and very powerful, but very dangerous to himself and everyone around him. And the second piece will be more blue accented and very chill looking because it's the after effects of Dazai activating his nullification power on Chuya and getting him to like chill out and effectively knocking him out, but still. Some more planning sketches with my OC and her armor. That's starting to make more sense. All right. These next 7 drawings will be me trying to do Inktober and following the official prompt list and then giving up because I was in the middle of uni assessments and exams at the time and it was just unfeasible to continue. Regardless, I think that these guys ended up looking pretty cool and I wish I had continued. But anyway, this is day 1, Crystal. Day 2, Suit. So I went with Suit of Armor. Day 3, Vessel. I love these 3 dummies. Day 4, Knot, which if you've been on the places of the internet that I have, oh boy, was this an interesting prompt choice. But I went with Tying the Knot. And here are Jude and Carden from the Cruel Prince book series. Day 5, Raven. Day 6, Spirit. I couldn't resist drawing Mimikyu. He just makes me so sad. And finally, day 7, Fan. Some sketches I never finished. This is the first planning sketch for what is now a relatively successful series on my TikTok, where my followers send me a selfie and a prompt and I turn them into a drawing. Here's what this one ended up looking like, and I'm quite happy with it. Here's some doodling I did from when I was trying to draw something every day. I got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days into it before I got overwhelmed with life and couldn't keep up. But I will try to do something similar again in a new sketchbook. Probably less strict though, because I'm not good at committing to those kinds of daily things, especially when I'm not inspired. Another gouache and pencil sketchbook spread that I'm insanely proud of. Planning sketch that I haven't done anything with yet. The second planning sketch for my drawing followers series. Here's how it turned out. The girl who was the subject of this one actually ended up buying it off of me, which was very cool and exciting. This spread was supposed to be some gouache studies of Studio Ghibli scenes, and I might go back to it at some point and finish it, but I just haven't been inspired to recently, and I didn't see the point of hanging onto this sketchbook and hoping that I would find the motivation to work with it when I could just leave it and come back to it later. More planning sketches for my drawing followers series. Um, I'm hoping now you're beginning to see why I think that while I adore this type of sketchbook, I didn't use it to its full potential. It's because I just use it to jot down these kinds of ideas. And it was cool to be able to use markers in it, but yeah. Anyway, this girl turned into this. This girl turned into this. And I'm pretty sure from here on, it's just portrait planning sketches. So let's speed through that. These two turned into this and this. And I don't know if my mic picked that up, but if you did hear a sound, that was my cat snoring in the background. These became this and this. I actually had a lot of fun working with the color palette on the Electric Girl. And these two turned into this and this. The villain looking one was also super fun to do, and I'm quite happy with how it turned out. The only thing that bothers me is the paper I use because I ran out of my normal paper, but that's a thing for another time. This is my most recent planning sketch for one of my portraits that I have not finished yet, so I don't have like a final piece to show you. A fun little beach girl whose face I messed up, so I covered it with a big hat. And that's it. This was probably my favorite sketchbook so far in terms of progress. I feel like this sketchbook led to some of my favorite pieces ever, and it features some pieces that I'm really proud of and happy with. And as you may be able to see in my little goal evaluation section, though I don't really think this color scheme is camera friendly. I did mostly meet my sketchbook goals, so that was an added bonus in there. So that was my sketchbook. Leave any thoughts you have below. I love reading comments. They're my favorite thing about making content online. If you don't do anything else, leave a comment, even if you hated it. They're also fun to read. Otherwise, like and subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in my next video, which will be on my 2022 art goals, coming sometime soon. I hope you all stay safe and treat yourselves kindly. Bye, team.